Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, meathead. Yeah. But most of the guys don't have the energy. And even if the gals have the energy, they got other things to do. You know, they're busy being grandmothers or whatever. I'm not demeaning that. I'm just saying that's the facts. Okay, so now you've got those three things working for you. People in that doesn't mean people that come in January are fucked, but they have less pressure. There's less outside pressure for people to react. And what you want, all you want is a little advantage. And you've already got that advantage because you understand the one motivated seller is the only moving part. I told you about the billionaire. He's got a school. He gives you $100,000. He mentors you for a year, and he's created a couple billionaires, but in 13 years, which is pretty terrific. What? He doesn't take any of the deal. He just does it out of the goodness of his heart. He also gets great publicity in the universities. He recruits from the grad schools, just like Goldman Sachs or J.P. Morgan recruit from the grad schools, and he gets a pick of the crop. And I would rather, if I was an honor graduate from Harvard MBA school, I would rather work for him on his year mentor program than fucking Goldman Sachs and be stuck in a fucking, being the bottom rung of a ladder. And he deals directly with you. Correct, 100 grand. 100 grand. Oh, you go out and you figure out a startup. Almost all his deals are tech startup. He's a multi-billionaire tech guy. And so there are other programs, but nobody in this room would qualify for that program. Not just because you didn't graduate top of your class in one of the B schools, but you're long in the tooth, except for him. No, there's a couple of you that are young, you two, but you're long in the tooth, and he's not going to be recruiting at Metropolitan Life Insurance, annual seller of the year of whole life insurance. So you don't recruit those kind of people. He doesn't recruit long in the tooth, foreign lawyers. Okay, so. I know you're your own man and you're 3'8" and you got huevos this big, right? Okay, we heard that story already. Okay, so don't discount that. You got to, just by serendipity, because you're here, Corona, some people had to drop out, you took their place, you're here. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. But generally speaking, since Corona started, February, March, April of 2020, sellers are afraid. January through December, they're afraid because they wake up, they have no exit strategy other than dropping dead over their computer. That's a big, big advantage for you. But also the YouTubers that use this, except most of the YouTubers are going to do deals that aren't exactly in your best interest necessarily. And so, but they have an advantage. And the people are just afraid. And who are the most afraid? The people that are seeing death, which is in healthcare. Nobody understands death better than the healthcare roll-ups. Nobody understands death better than the healthcare roll-ups, and nobody wants to die. That's an exaggeration, and they don't want to die. They want to just die later than sooner. So, and that's another reason I picked healthcare 37 to 38 years ago. I intuitively knew that, and it's still true. I had no idea that healthcare was going to be growing at almost 20% per annum GDP. I had no idea. That was just serendipity. But I would rather be lucky than smart anyway. So those are in your best interest. But it's the chairman. And once the chairman lets loose, lifts his skirt up a little, the other board members will feel so inclined. When you perform against one that the chairman gave you, not that you fucked it up. I am assuming performance. You did what you're taught. And then slowly but surely, the other board members, and normally the accountants have the most leads. Not always, but normally the accountants have the most leads. And when you're going to probably get an audit accountant for your CFO. Audit has more leads normally than tax guys or general business advice guys. And when the board starts lifting their skirts up, the accounting firm, just as with Jason Nagy, when the accounting firm takes you like a baby, where you've been dropped off, abandoned in front of, when your mother dropped you off, abandoned you in front of the hospital, when they, like with Jason, I mean, it's a piece of fucking cake. And you got to let loose of the fact that you might be a control freak, but accounting firms are not going to steal your deals. Remember, one of the reasons we use big accountants and big lawyers, they have big malpractice insurance. If they fuck you, you can sue them. The reason you don't use a one-man lawyer, if he has any malpractice, he's going to run to Bolivia before he pays. Okay? Not just because he speaks Spanish, but I mean, he's going to run to Bolivia. Okay, so, and then when the accounting firm does it, the law firm doesn't want you, because the accounting firm might not necessarily like your law firm. And so if the accounting firm is giving you deals and they say, I don't think the lawyers are up to snuff anymore, you're going to listen to them. So then the lawyers open their shorts up, and then it's like, shooting fish in a barrel squared. And that's how it's supposed to work. And that's exactly how it worked for me. And that's, and some of the big guys, because again, you don't need the accountants to like you. All you need them to do is respect you. And when you get over that hurdle, it sounds like a small speed bump, but it's an important speed bump. Remember, and I believe Anelli said it, when you're dishing out $3-4 million a year in fees, that's big. That's big. I mean, legally, no hanky-panky shit. I mean, legit. That's big. And they will, and then do right by them. And then I'm not talking about the World Cup tickets and all that shit that the kids go to, which I never asked for. But a lot of people, your wife might get off your back if she knew you were taking her to Wimbledon or someplace, if you're here in the UK. And we had all those. We had Wimbledon yearly tickets, and we had all that shit. I rarely went to any of it. So now you've got your funnel of leads should be the most loaded leads vis-a-vis potential motivated sellers. Your funnel of those should be the biggest. Your second biggest funnel should be finance. And as Anelli said, you're looking to the board, remember, directly or indirectly, if you're going to use money. You're not going to need money other than commercial debt. And your accountants and your lawyers for a source of banks. Now, certain laws will open up, and if you're international, and the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank are great sources of money. But I've taught you how to not use money. But if everything else fails, I mean, there's a plethora of financial institutions. I mean, just shitloads. And you're always looking for non-recourse money, and you're going to do everything humanly possible not to sign your name, guaranteeing. But in the U.S. of A, SBA, it's a federal mandate, part of the law, you must guarantee. But SBA, even though it's slightly easier, right now the time frame is longer because there's so many backed up SBA loans. So if you didn't do an SBA loan and you did just commercial banking. Now some big banks won't look at small deals, 1, 2, 3 million. They'll send you automatically to SBA. And it's not because they're discriminating against you because you're, black, yellow, purple. It's because they don't want to put time and effort into a loan that may fail when they can send you off to a bank that specializes in small loans that may fail, that are guaranteed by the federal government. And our colleague back in the back of the room, he knows, he's pretty well educated on it. When he and I were talking, he's sincere. I'm not, God knows I wouldn't blow smoke up your ass, believe me. But I mean, he actually understands it pretty well, which is unusual. But he's already been quasi-fucked over. So, I mean, and you always learn better when you're getting fucked over, unfortunately. Okay, now, any question on deal flow that I've just gone over, I might have mentioned earlier on in the seminar? Yes, sir.
My question is regarding the deal flow from your board.
Well, I'm sure they're giving you deals left, right, and center.
Yeah, but
especially that oil and gas guy.
Yeah, well, that I remember at one point reading that you said that, especially at the early stages, if they bring you aboard, you say, no, put this one on the back burner because you don't want them to take the credit for bringing.
No, you sound like a Manhattan. No. You always give credit where it's not due. You always want the board members to take credit so they feel more important, and so it's easier for you to get them to do legitimate things. So that you misunderstood. I never said that. It's give credit where it's not due. It's kind of like being married, significant other. It might have been your idea 11 years ago, and now your wife, what a great idea, honey. That's terrific. But you always give credit where it's not due. And of course, Sally's the master of that. And when I tell our kid, growing up, the kids we'd say no to them. Then they say, how do we make you say yes? What do we have to change to get a yes out of you? And I say, do this, you go on this 3-day trip with somebody else other than that slut. But she's my friend. You're not reading my lips. Go on the 3-day trip with somebody else. And so a lot of my sayings have been thrown back in my face all the kids' lives. I assume as soon as the grandkids can understand the difference between 2 and 3, they'll start throwing the shit back in my face too. But when you have the board members, and it's not disingenuous for you. I know we're just a team. We haven't done any deals yet, but we need to facilitate the deal flow. 42 million people in Manhattan. This and that. Blah, blah, blah. And but you got to work at it, and then you got to perform. Because if you fuck up the first deal with the chairman recommended, it's going to be a cold damn hell when the next board member, until you've done a bunch of deals. So there's a challenge. Some of the guys don't want to do the first deal coming out of the chairman because you have a higher probability of fucking it up the first time out. If you're confident, like I know you all are, you'll take the first deal under the chairman's guidance. Our Belfast guy, he knows. Well, so far he's been right. Who am I to say you're full of shit? I'm still going to tell him he's full of shit. But I mean, so when you belly up to the bar, make sure that you complete it as advertised. And as Marcus said, that I've taught him and I've taught others, over-promise and over-deliver, under-promise. And then when you get a reputation for that. Now, it's tough to get accountants and lawyers to work over the holidays. You're not the Simon Bell and some of these other guys that forces that card. But you're going to have a higher probability of doing it with ease when you don't fight over the fees and you give them plenty of time. I used to tell the teams, plan on working over Christmas and New Year's, even if I didn't have a deal. I told them that because invariably a deal would come up and we'd want to close it before the end of the year and they'd work over Christmas and New Year's. So we warned them so then they could warn their families. Even though I talk like we treat them like, hogs, donkeys or whatever. We do, but we warm up the donkey before we tell him he's going to work, 50 days straight. Any other questions about that? Yes, sir.
I'm just trying to get how much would you give the chair per?
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to sell my chair because the guys I'm thinking of for my chair and even some of my board members, they're smart guys. They're M&A. One's an M&A attorney. One's a Deloitte guy that did acquisitions. I'm trying.
Well, first of all, I'm telling you, you should not build your board with people you're already in business with.
No, these are guys I know.
Okay, well, and I also tell you that's like hiring your cousin, the lawyer. Okay, I would not, and I did not put people, and I knew a lot of people out of investment banking when I came out. I didn't put any of those people, and There's, whether you know them or you don't know them, Chairman 10, CEO 7, CFO 5, industry experts, and in-house lawyer and accountant 2 across the board. There will be nobody that will not suck your ass, including the M&A guy, the Deloitte guy. You will never have to use toilet paper again, because nobody other than somebody out of this group, not this group, somebody out of my stable of 2,000, I'm told, 2,000, has been the only person that's offered him that. And that's number one. But they're going to ask you, where's the equity coming from? Your challenge will be selling them, rightfully so, that's not a problem. Because it's not a problem. You've heard case after case after case. But whether he can sell it to him or not, he may or may not. And that's why I don't like you dealing with people you know. Because if you don't sell your buddy from Deloitte, you don't sell your M&A lawyer, they think you're rabbit shit going forward. That's why I tell you, the biggest reason not to. Now, even though I was capable, more than capable of selling anybody, anything, anytime, I didn't deal with people that I knew. Never. I never did it.
I mean, for such a low percentage.
Oh, well, no, okay.
Maybe I'm overthinking it, but
you are overthinking it.
That's going to be going through their head.
No, they are. No, what you're thinking is they're going to see the model and they're going to do it away from you.
Both, yeah.
Well,
I'm going to teach them how to do it, and then they're just going to do it.
Okay, well then that's the challenge you have, and that's the risk you have inherent in your relationship in business. But that I'm telling you, no. I'm telling you, it doesn't happen. Okay. If it did happen, I tell you, and I tell you how to protect yourself. But it does not happen. When
their only responsibility is you want them for their credibility and their...
No, and the first few deals, your M&A guy will have ideas. The first thing that's going to come to mind for the M&A guy, the 50 deals he didn't do in the last 2 years because they were too small are perfect for you. Now, whether he gives them to you or not, that's a whole... Okay, but they're perfect. The M&A guys, anybody worth their salt from any of the top 25 firms, M&A firms, have passed on at least 100 deals in the last year. Normally, the cutoff for the big M&A guys can't work. If I cannot earn $10 million in fees, I don't do it. Well, you're not going to do a deal the first year or two that's got cumulatively $10 million in fees. And they won't be interested. They'll be interested, how did you find this out? They'll understand no fees. A lot of the deals that were brought to them, $500,000 fee, $1 million, it's not worth it. It's not worth them putting the machine together. And you're not going to get much momentum out of it. You'll get momentum out of $1 or $2 million in fees, but the big firms won't. We've had, I told you, Goldman Sachs guys come in here where they don't have the Goldman Sachs shield anymore, and people don't respond to them the same way. I'm calling, my name Joe Douche, and I am the founder of Newco, as opposed to I'm senior vice president with the London office of Goldman Sachs. The Goldman Sachs guy gets his call returned in 5 minutes, and Newco may or may not ever get his call returned. But you're overthinking it. It won't happen. It just won't. It doesn't. And you're not the only guy that presumably, ostensibly, has some influential or savvy people. Most of the savvy people, like Peter's board, X-board, I might add. I thought of this when I was 45. Now I'm 64. I thought of this, and some of these guys will have tried. I forgot, good point. You bring up for an indirect way. Some of these guys you're going to recruit have tried to roll up and failed. Why did they fail? No, because they thought they had to have equity. These deals fail. The primary reasons almost all of the roll-ups fail is because they can't get the equity, or the equity is so expensive vis-a-vis a private equity firm that it's not worth doing. I wouldn't do a deal. Well, when I used to be in the business, private equity, I took 90% of the deal. And I gave them you can claw back from 10 to 25 when you meet these 18% hurdle rates, ROI. You know how hard it is to get an 18% ROI out of a fucking startup over 5 years? Impossible. And nobody ever clawed back shit from me. One time I did a mercy fuck and I gave guys 5 extra points. I forget what happened. Somebody died or something. I felt sorry for them. But when they give you the money, that's why these deals fail, because they weren't able to get the money cheap enough. Not like Peter the mouse. Those are I bet $1 million of my own money that those were the number 1 and 2 deal private equity deals in the world in 2017 and 18. On the planet, 6% and 8%. That you tell a private equity, fuck you, that's not possible. And a little nebbish. Now, 6 and 8% for all the money. It's not possible. But that's the problem. Guys that are really connected, that try to bring on other board members that are connected, not in the M&A world, but connected. There's one thing of being connected. You're the CEO, former CEO of Cardinal Health. Now you're the former CEO of Blackstone, the private equity guy. 2 different lives. The private equity guys will laugh at you. The Blackstone guy. No, they're pretty decent guys. The KKR guys for sure would laugh at you. The guys that came out of Bear Stearns like I did. But they take, sometimes they'll say, okay, here's $250,000 finder's fee. Get lost, asshole. We'll just take it from here. And when you're starving to death and you're eating beans and toast, is that the thing they eat when you're poor? Beans and toast? Yeah. Well, you're going, yeah. You're eating beans and toast. You take the $250 and you walk with your tail between your legs out the door. Yeah. So, not you, man. You can't get a tail in your big balls. You couldn't fit.
So if the dude's not, if the guy's not willing to do it for 10%, you move on.
Move on.
Guy. All right.
I can give you a list of 25 people in the Phoenix, Arizona, that would jump on your dick for this.
Mr. Peña.
No, listen, remember I told you I used to have an office there.
Yeah.
We had 5 roll-ups going out of Phoenix Mesa. The greatest roll-up was the mobile home parks. And now they're called something else, mobile home parks. Then Sam Zell, God love him, came in and fucked up the industry and divided the mobile home parks into A, B, C, and you bought D's and allegedly made them C's, and you bought C's and made them B's, which it wasn't true. And the value of those mobile home parks increased 50 to 100% and fucked up where debt service didn't cover, wasn't covered by cash flow. But the average cash flow of a mobile home park, industry average is 67%. Industry average. A good mobile home park, 85 to 90% cash flow. A shitty one, a monkey like some of you could run, 50%. But you better get no teeth, a patch, and a gun on your hip. But they're still around. I have a lawyer, a Mexican lawyer, I might have told you, who quit practicing law in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and is rolling up mobile home parks. But he wanted to always be white, unlike you. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. My brain's turning.
You're thinking about it too much. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Peña, given your examples about KKR and Blackstone, are you saying to ignore private equity guys that were in
the
that
second
league?
day I said, unless they're fully retired and they have no conflicts, next. If they have conflicts, and ask them, and what they should say, yes, I'm very much interested. I thought about this. Subject to conflicts, I'm interested.
I'm referring to your comments about the founder's fee, that those guys would be more inclined to do that.
No, you're going to find out everybody wants free founder's equity. There's no reason to turn down, in the free world where there's a rule of law, free founders equity. There are no reasons. And you will be the first person, not on LinkedIn, because now we got all kind of assholes on LinkedIn, that will have offered. You're the first Vietnamese woman that will have offered them free founders equity, I'll guarantee. And speaking of Vietnamese, we've had Vietnamese guys here from Ho Chi Minh. They don't believe it. You can't do this. It is so foreign to them. Vietnamese. Chinese don't believe it either. But I mean, Vietnamese, free? Why would you give it to them free? I mean, do you speak Vietnamese?
A little bit.
Okay. But they say it you speak not with a Vietnamese accent. I mean, you should be on TV, young lady. I mean, you and your husband. They sold a nail, this is the last one, a couple came. When you go in for tans and waxings, is that right? Right word? Waxings, and they cleared 17 million. They had about 25 of these parlors, and everything cash. They had no credit cards. And I said, how did you run a business with no credit? No credit. We paid right there when they deliver. We pay. They didn't believe in credit, and they said, and the wife said, "We're not giving nothing free. No. It's a new code free. We don't believe in free." So they left here and they said they had a good time. Nice vacation in Scotland. That was it. I couldn't.
One other question. What about QLA are you telling or not telling the board? I mean, do you tell everything?
No. That's a Vietnamese question. That's a Brooklyn question. 100% disclosure. Everything's 100% disclosure. Now, we can do it the Colombia drug cartel model, which I twisted a little for them back in the day, or the Mexican mafia model, which I twisted back in the day, but this is 100% disclosure. We're telling, there are no secrets, there are only mysteries here. We tell them everything. Everything. But for these guys, the kind of guys he's referring to, I think they're too old and too lazy. At least half of your board members will have participated or thought about participating in a roll-up, and the ones that tried it all failed. And if they tried it and were successful, they don't need you. They don't need you. And but it's on the you. It's a lot of fucking work, and most people are too fucking lazy. No, if he's doing a roll-up, no. I mean, now he would steal it. You're right. If he's doing it, he knows how easy it is. But there are guys that are doing it with their own money, and they see your model, they exit their deal. Correct. There's nothing wrong with a free education. I told that madam at that whorehouse, teach me whatever. I mean, I'm here. I'm yours. I'll just close my eyes and pretend I'm someplace else. I could write 100 books. I mean, I could write a book on the Dutch, the Germans, the Mexicans, the Vietnamese, the Koreans, poor white trash from Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, Jewish trash from the tri-state area. I mean, I've been fucked by all of them in a good way. In a good way. I also been fucked by all of them in a bad way. Okay, YouTube, goodbye.